Hello and welcome to another episode of Maths with Mrs. Banks, where we make maths fun and easy to learn. And in this video, we're going to look at how to factorize quadratic trinomials for mathematics grade 9. On that note, please don't forget to click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on new videos we upload in the future. Also, if you have a question or would like to make a video request, please comment down below with the topic and grade you'd like me to cover, or alternatively send all that information to the contact details provided in the description box. Now back to the video. In detail, we're going to look at factorizing the quadratic trinomials of the most basic form. In other words, those that start with x squared. In other words, where the coefficient of x squared is simply 1. Notice that in the examples provided in this video, we've got 6 as the last term of all the examples. Now, some are positive 6 and some are negative 6. In the middle, we've got a mixture of middle terms. The first two are 5x, and the second two are 1s, both a mixture of plus and minus. In other words, a mixture of a total variety of the types of question you could get in problems like this. Now, let's start. The first example is what I call the most basic type of quadratic trinomial you will ever factorize. It's easy. You've got your x squared and pluses in the middle. No minus, no tricky thing, just the basic and most simple. Now, the first step you do is you write equals to and write a pair of brackets. In the first bracket of each pair, you will write x in both. Why? Because when you multiply them together, x times x, that will give you x squared, which is the first term of the original algebraic expression we're trying to factorize. Step number 2 is you look at your last term and then find factor pairs that when multiplied together give you the last term, in this case 6. So we go 6 times 1, that is the first factor pair, it gives us 6. The second factor pair is 3 times 2. In this case, we only have 2. In some cases, you may have a whole list of them, so list them all from the beginning, from the biggest to the smallest, so you don't miss out on any factor pair that could actually satisfy the middle term of your expression. Now, the next thing you do is now you add this factor pair. You go 6 plus 1, in this case, that gives you 7. Then 3 plus 2, that gives you 5. Now, the factor pair, when added, that gives you the middle term, in this case 5, is the factor pair that you use to factorize this. 6 times 1 gives us 7, so we cross it off. But 3 times 2, yes, gives us 5, so this is the correct one. So we write 3 here and 2 there. Notice that you don't have to write them the way I did. You can even write 3 here and 2 there. You will be absolutely correct. And the last thing you do is you write pluses. This one is simple, like I said. No balancing minuses all over the place, and this is all you have to do. Now the next one is x squared minus 5x plus 6. Same story. Step number 1, 2 pairs of brackets, and your x's, x and x. Step number 2, you find factor pairs of your last term. 6 times 1 and 3 times 2. All right, 6 times 1 when added together give us 6 plus 1, it's equals to 7. When we subtract them together, 6 minus 1 gives us 5. The second factor pair, 3 plus 2, gives us 5, and 3 minus 2 gives us 1. Now the factor pairs that satisfy the equation give us 5 in the middle are both the first one and the second one. Now, as to which one is more appropriate or which one is the correct one, we know that in the middle term we've got a negative number, but in the last term we've got a positive number. That means whatever factors you multiply together must both have negative signs. So when you've got a plus in the last term and a negative in the middle, it means whatever terms you have here must be negatives. So what are the two numbers when added together can give us a 5. Added together, it's 3 and 2. So we'll write 3 and 2 and put negative numbers in the middle. Why? Let's check. That's because when we add them together, they will give us a negative 5. But when you multiply them together, they'll give us positive 6. Let's check. X times x, that is x squared, so that checks out. Now let's check the last term. Negative 2 times negative 3. Negative 2 times negative 3, that gives us positive 6. So it also checks out. Now let's check the middle term. Negative 2 plus negative 3, that is equals to negative 5. If you need any help with adding integers, I just did a video on integers, adding integers. Please go watch that video and make sure that you're comfortable with your integers and adding them. And that is the correct answer. So the answer is x minus 2 multiplied by x minus 3. And that's how you solve this one. Next question, we have x squared plus x minus 6. And this one, you have a plus in the middle and a negative on the outside. And you will see how that now affects where you put a positive and where you put a minus. And the terms, the factor pairs that you use at the end of the day. Now, step number 1, again, we write the 2 pairs of brackets. In each one, x and x, because those are the only factors that can give us x squared. Now, step number 2, we find factor pairs of the last term. All right, 6 plus 1 gives us 7, and 6 minus 1 gives us 5. 3 plus 2 gives us 5. 3 minus 2 gives us 1. In the middle, we've got a 1. So automatically, the factor pair that will work for this one is that which gives us 1. So that factor pair is 3 and 2. This is the correct factor pair, 3 and 2. The other one we cross off. Now we put 3 here and 2 there, or you can put 3 here on the first pair of brackets and 2 on the other pair of brackets. It does not really matter which order you put them. Now, what we need to figure out is what we do next. Where do we put a plus and where do we put a minus? Why is that the case? First of all, in order to get a negative on the last term, we'll have to multiply a positive by a negative. Now, the question is, where do we put a positive and where do we put a negative? What we do is we look at the middle term. The middle term will tell us where we put a plus and where we put a negative. If the middle term is plus, we put the positive in front of the bigger number. If the middle term is negative, also we put a negative in the bigger term. In this case, it is plus, so we put our positive in front of 3 and we put our negative in front of 2. Now, negative 2 times positive 3 will give us negative 6. That checks out. Now let's check out if the middle term gives us 1. 3 minus 2 gives us 1. Yes, the middle term checks out as well. And so that is the correct answer. X squared plus x equals minus 6 equals to x minus 2 times x plus 3. And the last question is x squared minus x minus 6. In this case, you've got minuses in both the middle term and the last term. Step number 1, same old story. 2 pairs of brackets, x and x. Second step, we find the factor pairs of the last term. 6 times 1, 6 plus 1 equals to 7. 6 minus 1, 6 minus 1 is equals to 5. All right, the second factor pair, 3 plus 2 equals to 5. And 3 minus 2 equals to 1. The one that gives us 1 in the middle, the factor pair that gives us 1 in the middle is 3 times 2. So this is the correct one. That one we cross off, so we'll put 3 and 2. Now, in the last term, we've got a negative number, which is cool. That means we will need to have a positive and a negative, because when we multiply them together, they will give us a negative. In the middle term, we've got a negative. That will be sorted out. In this case, we've got a negative in the middle term. Remember, the middle term sign determines where you put the sign in the middle. So in this case, we've got a negative sign in the middle. That means we'll put that negative in front of the big number, negative 3 in this case, and then the plus in front of the 2. And that's how you decide where you put your plus and where you put your minus in cases like this. So remember, the sign in the middle tells you where you must put the sign. If the sign is negative in the middle, you put your negative in front of the bigger number. If it's positive, like with the last example, if it was positive and it was positive here, you put your positive in front of the bigger number. And that's how you decide where to put what and where to put the minus. We've come to the end of this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.